would support
third-party line.
I would support a third line that had the Tea Party involved in it, yes. And I would because I believe that the other parties here, they, I don't think that they, I think that they almost become like businesses, you know, and it's I would support a Tea Party line, and it would be complicated to put together. You want to make sure that you have a mechanism that look, the point is the best part about a Tea Party line is it would bring out additional people that feel disenfranchised by the parties that might not vote on the line.
Exactly.
That's the best part of democracy.
But doesn't it split the vote?
I don't think so, because for instance, if I'm on the Republican line and I'm on the Tea Party line and I get votes on either of those, it both count for me to get elected.
Right.
So it doesn't hurt, but what it would do is it would show the volume of Tea Party power in the state. That was one of the interesting things there.
You'll draw the conservative Republicans and conservative Democrats.
Excuse me?
You'll draw the conservative Republicans and
You will.
conservative Democrats.
You will draw people that are disenfranchised.
You'll be like a magnet.
But are you on the conservative?
I'm on the Republican line. I'm not a conservative because my vote is. That's another person.
What about the independents?
I'm not the independent, but I'll say this: the independent line's got serious problems because there's a huge investigation of money, and so I think they're in
A
big
lot of
trouble.
people vote because they think it means independent.
No, they're the independents, not
I
independent.
know that,
They're
but
the
a lot of
independents.
people
Right?
think it.
Yes, ma'am.
And you
Exactly
just
right.
get on that line.
But I think that if there was another line, I would pursue other lines. If there was a right to life line, I'd be on that line. I would want to get my name on lines that are consistent with the values that I support. I'm not going to go into the juggler's line or anything like that. But get something that's going to do that. Yes, sir.
What are your views about Guantanamo, and where should the terrorists be tried?
Okay. First off, on Guantanamo, I was actually involved in the operation in Tora Bora. I was the architect of that operation, which resulted in the capture of the first 135 people that went to Gitmo. So I had a direct hand in that. In the operation, it resulted in the capture of a lot of those people. We should have military tribunals for them. Should be civilian courts. And people say, well, why shouldn't we have them? And my response is I don't want to give them the Fifth Amendment. The military tribunal, they make them, we can put pressure on them to talk. We don't give them the right to not self-incriminate. That's the number one reason.
But what other intelligence would come out in those trials?
Exactly. Here's the other
would be compromised.
Under the Geneva Convention, you know something? The left is really, they love to talk about certain aspects of the Geneva Convention, but here's what they don't like to talk about. Under the Geneva Convention, if you are not in uniform, not carrying arms openly, don't have a uniform or designating patch, or not commanded by competent authority or abiding by the rules of war, you are an enemy combatant or a marauder, and they are allowed to use process and use capital punishment. That's what the Geneva Convention says. That's what Roosevelt did when we captured Germans in the time of war that tried to sneak into the United States, some on Long Island, some in Florida. He did that in 6 weeks. Okay? Here we are, 9 years later. When I was on the ground in Afghanistan, we were fighting, we captured the guys in the beginning. I would have never believed that I would be here 9 years later, and all of us would be having this discussion about these guys. We've released hundreds of them, okay? Hundreds of these people. They go back to Saudi Arabia to be rehabilitated, to finger paint. Finger paint. And then after finger painting, you get a Ferrari, you get a nice apartment, to get sort of reintegrated into society. A number of these guys have rejoined Al-Qaeda. We've had several dozen have been killed or recaptured on the battlefield. The 2 guys that lead Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, Gitmo detainees. The guy that killed Benazir Bhutto, Gitmo detainees. Beytullah Massoud. You know? And so the point of the matter is I want Gitmo to remain for now. I don't have a problem closing it as long as we don't move them into civilian courts. So long as we keep them in the military. If we lock them all in the basement of Leavenworth for the rest of their lives, I wouldn't shed any tears about that. But what I wanted to stop doing is releasing them. That's more important than anything else. We're all arguing over whether they should be there or they should be here, but the point is stop releasing them. You know, we released several of these guys from the Chinese group, the Uyghurs, and they were Uyghur terrorists. There's a group called it's the Turkmenistan Front, and they're terrorists. They're in the Bahamas. Remember we sent those guys to the Bahamas? I was on a holiday when I was down there, and I was wondering where they were. But you know, the point of the matter is it's like, why did we release them and send them to the Bahamas? Oh, they were actually in Afghanistan teaching the Quran. That's what they said they were. There were guys that we captured when I was there in 2001 selling bathroom appliances. What are you doing in Tora Bora? 14,000 feet. There's no roads and there's no toilets. There's no bathroom equipment for, you know? I mean, it's just absurd. But we've captured hundreds, we've released many of these people, and it's just insanity. It's, and you know, I'm incredibly disappointed.
You know, I have a question. What is wrong with Guantanamo Bay? Outside of world,
The biggest problem initially, though.
they hate us anyway.
No, but it's not. The issue for Guantanamo, the hardest problem for us is that a number of countries around the world in the Middle East are taking a lot of heat over this, who are our allies. I'll give you an example. Jordan, for instance, in the Middle East, have an incredible intelligence service. They work hand in glove with us, and they help us go after Al-Qaeda guys. And they're public, and they've got public opinion, and the press in the Middle East is constantly talking about Guantanamo, the horrible Americans. And so the Jordanians are saying, can't you put them someplace else so we can stop getting this heat? Because they're working with us. It's because of some of our allies are trying to get us to close it as well, because they take a lot of political heat from their own constituents. That's part of it. That's the political component of this. Is it a great facility to keep them at? Yes, the best facility in the world to keep them at. Yes, but it's the political component with the liaison services that are cooperating with us. The state police, you know, it's the problem. My point is this. I'm not as concerned with closing it as I am with making sure they stay under military hands.
Right.
That we set. The other problem is this. America has failed to recognize that what we need to change is our outlook on all of this. We're used to being in conflict with governments and armies. These are non-state actors that declared war on us. And our legal system hasn't caught up with this. And we need a new body of law almost to deal with these people. That's what we need. And that's what we failed to recognize right away in 2001, because we were so busy fighting in so many places that we lost track of, hey, we better get in front of this, and we didn't. Because that's the problem now, non-state actors declaring war on us and doing these types of things.
Okay, Grant, just a couple more questions here for you.